Now, I've grown plenty of plants that struggle in my local climate with the pests and with disease. However, lavender is one of those plants that's a cornerstone in my garden. Today, I'll reveal why. Hello and welcome to Sproutlogic Gardening. So the question is, why lavender? Why am I choosing this as one of my cornerstones in the garden? Well, there's actually a ton of reasons why, but let's start off with what lavender brings into the garden. So this is a perennial plant that comes back year after year when you take care of it, of course. It typically will flower throughout the entire season, usually starting late spring, going all the way into fall. Now, this depends on where you live, of course, right? This is conditional. And if you live in a climate where it gets cold very quickly, obviously lavender is not going to be going most of the year. It'll probably only go during the summer and then taper off in the fall. But it is also an extremely drought resistant and very strong plant once it establishes itself. That's the key I wanted to mention. Has to get established to really gain that ability to resist the climate and things like that. So in the garden also, it's great for pollinators, bees, butterflies, you name it, it'll be attracted to it. Little bonus, even the foliage smells really good. It smells absolutely amazing, in fact. Now you're probably looking at this going, this looks really sad. Where's the flowers? We'll get into that in a second. Now I have two varieties in my garden. This is a Providence, a French lavender, and this is Intermedia, which I believe is a mix with a Spanish lavender. So they look different, right? Or I'm sorry, they're different varieties, but they actually look the same. Side by side, I couldn't even tell you the difference. Looking at these guys, they look exactly the same. So when we talk about planting lavender, there's a couple common mistakes that people end up running into. One of them being they plant in very fertile soil. Lavender does not want to be sitting in compost. It doesn't want to be getting fertilized constantly. It wants to be left alone in very kind of bare soil. Rarely will you ever need to fertilize lavender, and I mean very, very rarely. The other thing to mention, and kind of reminds me of a Gardener's World episode I watched with Monty Don, he traveled to France and he basically went into a giant lavender field. What really spoke to me was the conditions. It was basically a desert. It was up in the mountains, super dry, super arid, free draining soil. That's exactly what these need. So I don't ever touch the soil. When I initially set it up, I went ahead and made sure it was really free draining. I don't really have the irrigation running to this, so it's very dry. I rarely water it. It does not want to be sitting in water or soil that's very dense like clay or something that holds on to water. That would in fact be really detrimental to it. But if you take care of it that way, it really does come back and rewards you 10 times over for sure. So again, quick recap. Arid soil, very dry conditions, free draining, does want to be fertilized a lot. You got to give it that time to also establish over its first year of life, and then it really comes back. Now, the next thing I want to cover with you is pruning. This is something that's super important. So let's dive into that. So when it comes to lavender, trimming is obviously one of the most important things you have to make sure you do. There's 2 times you do it in the year. That's going to be after its first initial blooms. That's typically, for me, it's usually early summer. And then, of course, you would do a pruning in the spring. When it comes to pruning, there's 2 methods. First is simple deadheading, going all the way down as far as you can and snipping off the spent blooms at their base. Little note with that, you want to make sure you avoid the brown part of what they call the wood. So lavender grows typically with a woody kind of brown stem and then expands out into the green growth. You only ever want to cut into the green growth, never into the brown wood. Now, that is one method to do it. To be honest, got a little lazy. There's a second method that I do. I grab the big clippers and I just give it a general trim about 1/3 down. That's good enough as well. So that is your summer pruning, or typically, at least in my area, it is after the first spent blooms. Now what you're doing is you're encouraging it to do another flush of blooms. In fact, mine's already throwing up blooms as we speak. I see little ones coming in, so I imagine in a month or 2, I'll be back to where it was before. Now the other pruning that you do is typically in the spring. So this is after you start seeing new growth coming in. You'll notice that there'll be dead dieback stems and then green growth. Now what you want to do is just cut it for shape, right? So you're making sure you're maintaining a mound looking shape. Same thing in the summer cut, by the way. So you're basically trimming it a little bit, making sure again, not to cut into that brown woody stem, and you're removing a lot of the dead growth on there to let it come back throughout the spring and summer and have it explode in your garden, filling up the space that it's in. So let's wrap this video up and talk about a couple small things I'll mention about lavender as well. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet. I wanted to cover the raw basics when it comes to lavender, right? So again, quick recap. Arid soil, free draining. One thing I forgot to mention, full sun. Absolutely needs sun, loves sun. So you need to make sure that wherever you place it in the garden, it's getting blasted at least 6 to 8 hours, if not more. The spot I have it in, it's probably getting closer to 12. So that's really important. The more sun, the better. And then of course, also making sure that you're pruning properly, avoiding that brown wood. That's incredibly important. Now, one other little note I'll mention about it as well is make sure when you're planting lavender, you're leaving room to breathe. Mine's a little close and tight, not the greatest. However, I've gotten away with it. I haven't had any problems. That's where disease lands when it comes to lavender. If they're clumped together or there's plants all around it, it's not going to do well. In fact, I would honestly recommend if you're going to plant lavender, keep it together with its own group, its own type, right? So I have that Spanish and French lavender. You don't see any other flowers kind of shoved in between. You don't want to do that. So as long as you follow that method, lavender will pay you back tenfold. It'll grow super happy. And I promise you, it's one of the easiest things to grow as long as you just follow these methods. Now, I hope this video is helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Take it easy.